First day in pads. I mean, practice number 3. Came out here the first 2 days, kind of overcast, rainy, as it's been for about the last 2 weeks. I thought we were going to have to start building an ark with the way the weather was. And so to come out here day 3, first day in pads, the sun came out today, beautiful day, about 80 degrees. I just thought it was a great day to come out here and work. I thought we got an awful lot done. I talked about it just at the very beginning of camp and just everything that we have to get done for this camp. It's going to be an important camp for us. I think today was the first step in heading in that direction. We've got a long way to go. We can't look at that we have to build on what we did last year because we don't get to take any of the wins from last year with us. We don't get to start any of the games with a point advantage. We don't get, we've got the same thing as everybody else, and we're going to have to go out and earn it. And I think right now for this football team, we've got to develop some depth on this team. There's a couple starting positions that are open, but for the most part, I think the most important thing is watching a lot of these young guys that are going to get an opportunity to get all this teamwork and pad work and fundamental work that we're getting right now that's going to make them good enough to be able to play in the fall and be able to compete for this football team.
Did you expect the competition level to be as high as it's been thus far at quarterback?
Yeah, I made the comment before. I thought we have 3 really talented quarterbacks. I'm even going to say 4 when you look at Alex Woodall, who's not able to go right now. But I made the comment yesterday. I thought all 3 quarterbacks are throwing the ball very accurately. All 3 quarterbacks have a really good concept. All 3 of them have a really good huddle presence and have stepped in and they're doing a really nice job. I think we have 3 quarterbacks that I really like that I think at some point in time during the course of this year are going to be good enough to win with. Big difference in winning with somebody and winning because of somebody. And I don't want to play on words, but I think right now, we've just got to continue to eliminate some of the negative plays that we're making right now, which is expected the first 2 or 3 days of spring.
Coach, how do you think Jeff is handling the transition so far?
I think he's done an unbelievable job. He's come in here, as I said, I think he's got great poise, he's got great presence. We knew he was talented. We knew he was going to be 6'4". We knew he was going to weigh 230, and we knew he could run a 4.5. What I've really been impressed with is how quickly he's picked up the offense and the way that he's anticipating and reading, because that's what I didn't know. I didn't know what Florida was trying to teach him. I think this passing game is a lot different than the one that Florida ran, and I think for him, he's made a couple throws that have really impressed me, but he still, he makes a couple throws that upset me too. So, but I think he's done a great job for a guy that's been in here for 3 days and just started school, hadn't even been in school for a week, started school last Wednesday. I think his huddle presence, his work habits, he's a professional. Just the way he carries himself, the way he handles himself, I think he's got great respect to this team because of the poise and presence how he carries himself and his work habits and the way that he's leading right now.
Was he a guy that you targeted right off the bat once he announced that he was transferring? What was that? How'd that go, and what was your pitch?
That he had an opportunity to come in here and an opportunity to play. I knew that he was talking about leaving, and when that came out that he was looking to transfer, I just wanted to have an opportunity to get on the phone with him, talk with him. We got on the phone, had some great conversations, and he said, Coach, you know what, I flew down there and saw him and met with them. And then I said, go through your bowl game, have that experience, have a great last game at Florida. And then when the bowl game's over, we'll talk. And when the bowl game was over, he said, Coach, I'm ready to end this thing. I want to be a Bulldog. I'm coming to Louisiana Tech. And so we put on little party hats and party favors. But I think, I think it was a tough decision, but he knew what he was looking for, and I'm glad that we can give him what he was looking for here at Louisiana Tech.
One thing he said to us is that he felt like coming here made football fun again for him. And I know you obviously didn't see him practice at Florida, but is that something you've kind of picked up on, like he's having a good time out here?
He has a smile on his face. He knows what he's doing. He's reading. He's learning. He's a student of the game. He's asking questions. He seems like he's really enjoying it out here. He's a great young man. He's got a smile on his face. He's not a down. He's just a positive, upbeat guy, and he's out here competing, working out, running, lifting, leading. Leading all the drills. He's got a phenomenal attitude, and I think that's going to take him a long way with this football team.
Offensive line's a spot that you got a couple of holes to fill with some guys that left.
Yep.
Do you feel like if you can bring those guys along with the receivers you've got coming back, you'll be able to chunk the ball a little bit next year?
Well, we'll see. I mean, because we got some pretty good tailbacks coming back too, and I want to get to the point where we can have some diversity, where we can run it when we need to, and we can throw it. We may not throw for 300 yards a game, but we may not run for 300 yards a game. We got to do what we need to be able to do to win and what a defense gives us. But knowing that we have the running backs, I like the way the quarterbacks are playing. I like the way some of the receivers are developing. I really like kind of what Marlon Watts and Marcus Gaines are doing. Kylan Thomas, Deshaun Oliver, 2 walk-ons are really starting to make their presence felt a little bit and doing a really nice job. I think, and then you got Carlos and Trent Taylor and Thad Medford. We moved over. Grant Childress is doing some good things. Some guys are stepping up and doing some good things at wide receiver, and that's without Paul Turner. But the key to how we're going to do as an offense is definitely on our offensive line. I mean, you got Kirby Wixon back. Right now, Brunson's missing a little bit at the beginning of practice with an ankle, but he should be fine and should be back. You got Jens and Josh Robinson, who started the last 2 games of the year at tackle, who are both back. But I think right now it's all about the depth on this offensive line and how they're going to continue to develop. But we got to continue to challenge them every day. And when you look at that 3-on-3 drill at the end, our O-line's got a long way to go.
Back to Jeff, you said Florida's passing game was different. How or why?
You'd have to ask him that. That's just what he has said to me when I've asked him, how's it different? I didn't study their passing game and what they do. I've just asked him, how is it different? He said a lot more different concepts, that he's not used to reading. But you'd have to ask him with the rest of it. He's just said it's a lot different than what I've done, but I like it. Where we are much more in a 4 and 5 wide sets where the back's out. They didn't do much of that there. Just the number of people and the concepts that are going on the field. More to read.
Last year when we talked at this time, you said, you really kind of had to put this team together, even though you had a lot of seniors. You got a lot of new faces again this year. Is it kind of that way again, or do you feel like
every year you start over in the spring? The biggest thing I said, really the main things that we got to do this semester, this quarter, this spring, we got to put the team together. We got to get the depth chart together, and that means replacing a couple starters on the offensive line, but your running backs are back. Who's going to be the quarterback? Some receivers, your safeties are back. Your D-line are back. Who are going to be the linebackers? There's a couple starting questions to be answered, but when I say put this depth chart together, I'm probably more concerned about the backup 22 than I am the starting 22. That's, to me, the biggest question mark with this team, because all those guys are one injury away from having to go in and play for us, and are they ready to pick up that role yet? So I think the depth chart is going to be critical. I think with all the young guys and making the decision not to go get a bunch of junior college players, we're going to have to develop fundamentally, but probably the most important thing that we got to do is continue to develop and find leadership on this football team, and that's something that will go all the way through spring and all the way through summer and all the way through fall camp before I feel really comfortable going into the season.
Talked about depth and leadership a lot, but toughness was evident at the end with that Oklahoma drill. Where does toughness play into spring ball?
I think it's key, especially for young guys, that haven't played a lot of football. I know Vernon Butler's tough. I know Doris. I've seen those guys do it. But some of these offensive linemen that need to come along, that's an area where we got to get tougher as a football team. And sometimes when you look at where we were really good was when we were able to take the ball and throw it over everybody's heads and make plays in space. And we got to get to the point, if we want to be able to compete for this championship and win it, we got to be able to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and we're not there yet.
How has the defense responded to Coach Baker?
I think Blake's done a great job. Blake's got the same energy, I think he's got a great mind. It hadn't changed. I think they are excited that he's here. They're going into year 2. Rather than for the last 4 years, they've been in year 1 every spring. Okay, this is right. Oh, okay, that was that last year. Now it's this, we're now the same terminology. They get a chance to really grow and develop now in what they're doing in the defense. And I think, there's some experience back there, and there's some guys that have played a lot of football. They're all coming back in the same system, and I think Blake's energy and the way he does things on defense, I think, are very similar to what we did a year ago.
2 bits of housekeeping. Roster-wise, Thomas McDonald, Malcolm Pichon, they officially gone. And,
yes.
And Tevin and Grogan absent. Why are they not?
And Tyler Porter. Right now, they've been suspended for spring practice.
Those 3?
Mm-hmm.
4?
Personal or team rules.
Okay. So they won't be here at all? the entire spring
I wouldn't say that, but I would say they are suspended right now,
currently?
in-house,
Okay.
in-house suspensions.
One last thing on toughness and then building leadership over the spring, and getting the players to know the standard to set come fall. How important is that going to be now for having so many freshmen coming in?
Well, you look last year, we had 7 freshmen play for us, and when I alluded a minute ago, we didn't go the junior college route, going to get a bunch of those guys. With 21 freshmen coming in here on August 9th, it means that some of those guys are going to have to play. And I think if we can not only set that tempo and what it's going to take to play here, but also develop the leadership where those guys are going to pass along what it takes, and you don't have just coaches yelling about it, but we've got a team that's trying to push it and emphasize it, then I think that's when we have a chance to get it done on the field. But as I said, toughness is a big part of this game.